everyone, I'm Miss Companion, and this is EH-141, which is oral communication. I apologize if you hear my cat crying from behind the door. She thinks that if I'm talking, she should be talking too and joining in the conversation, and I tried to put her outside of the room so that you wouldn't hear her as much, but she still probably will meow. So this video, or the series of videos, is to help you orient you to the class so that you can get a better sense of how to proceed and what's expected of you. I know online courses are challenging because you often feel like you're alone in them, and I don't want you to feel that way. I am here to help. I do teach in-person classes, and you can find me and access me any way that you want to, except I'm not on campus right now because all my classes are online. I also apologize if my voice cracks a little bit or if I cough. I have been under the weather, and it's one of the reasons it took so long to get these videos up. I didn't think you really wanted to hear me coughing every 2 minutes, but I'm still not completely 100% back to normal, so I'm sorry about that. So here we're at the course homepage. This is kind of a really quick overview of what we're going to be doing and how to get in contact with me. Normally I respond to emails within 48 hours, except for on weekends. Some weekends I'm not available for life-related reasons. And my student hours are 12 to 2, Tuesday through Thursday. I normally am on Teams during that time. If you want to message me, you can also email me or access me through Canvas. My email address is hcompanion@jsu.edu. It's a pretty standard formula for all of the instructors. So now let's go over here to the next page. And I'm in student view, so this should look really similar to what you see. Anytime I need you to know something that isn't on the syllabus or the start pages, and we'll talk more about those in a second, I'll send you an announcement like this. And you do want to turn your notifications on for your email to get these announcements, because it often does have important information, like if I move a due date or if we decide not to do a project or something like that. You'll want to know about it in advance. We also sometimes do surveys. For instance, for Module 7, I'm probably going to send you a survey on some preferences, which is the group presentation module, to get a sense of the technical realities that you're facing and what we can and can't easily do. And to get also a sense of your preferences, what kind of things you might want to do presentations on. And so if I post those will also be an announcement like this one. Most of the course content is already online with the exception of some of the video lectures. I try to do those individually for each class so that I can customize my instruction to that class. So that does mean that sometimes they take a little longer to get up. But I will try to have all of the video lectures about a week before the module starts. So it shouldn't affect you unless you're an overachiever and you're trying to get the entire class done early. You can go ahead and try to get a lot of the class done. As I said, you won't have access to the video lectures yet. Just ignore Module 7. Module 7 is the group presentation one. I haven't quite figured out what we're doing for that one yet. So just kind of bear with me on that. I do routinely check my email. And all of your navigation should occur through modules, not through the other tabs that thankfully don't seem to be appearing this time. Normally there's it says assessments and quizzes and things like that, and they're not here, which is good. This little orientation module is JSU's standard module. All students should review it. It applies to all classes, here at the university. Everything is in modules for you. So you can see this is Module 1. It has start page, syllabus. It should be useful. Apologize also that some words are in French. There's an app on my computer that I haven't figured out how to turn off that converts some words on websites to French. That just applies to my computer. So this should, for instance, say useful or helpful instead of utile here. You can see that these modules are basically follow the same structure for all of the modules. So you have a start page. Then you have any course materials. These are your PowerPoints or attachments that I want you to look at. Video lectures that I will upload as we go. And the assignments and quizzes in the order that they're due. So for instance, for Module 2, you'll have your communication and perception discussion board on January 25th. Then you'll have your Chapter 11-12 quiz on January 29th, and the Chapter 1 and 2 quiz on the same day. And so these are in the order that you need to do them. Don't skip modules. Also, if you decide to go ahead, make sure you do the modules in order. They're arranged very, very deliberately for a lot of reasons that we'll talk about in a minute. So module 1 is about kind of getting you oriented to the course. And as you can see, we have a start page. We'll go through kind of hopefully a walkthrough of the module in a minute. This is more of a course walkthrough than anything. So we're going to start with the syllabus. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. This is going to show you how to get to it. Download it. I've already got it on my computer, obviously, but I'm trying to kind of help you get there. Okay, and then click on it. It's the wrong course number. I got my schedule yesterday for this semester, so my student hours weren't updated here yet. They are, again, Tuesday through Thursday, noon to 2. That's when I'm sitting at my computer, but working on JSU stuff. But if you email me outside of that, I still will get to it as soon as I get to my computer. Again, except for, on weekends when sometimes I can't do that. So the student hours are times that I have set aside to provide one-on-one instruction, feedback, respond to emails, or do anything else that you need. I'll be in Teams and checking my email frequently during those times, so they really are the best times to reach me, but you can feel free to contact me at any time, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So this course places an emphasis on the process by which ideas are interchanged orally from one person to another or group. In other words, we're focusing on communication. Required texts and supplies are Communicate, the 15th edition, edited by Verbiter and Verbiter. It is a bundle that includes an e-text, a loose leaf text, and the MindTap program. We're not using the MindTap program this semester. In a full version, it would be recommended to have a binder. You can use whatever organizational method you want. If you want to write in a notebook, if you want to make notes in OneNote, whatever works for you to take notes. You do, however, need a stable internet connection and computer, or at least a device. We had some interesting experiences last semester with students whose speeches would get partially uploaded, but not fully uploaded. The internet would go down for a bit and they'd have to start all over. So you really do want that to be stable. I recommend a microphone, camera, and any software needed to upload speeches. That will really depend on your situation. Some people will have, a desktop. Some people have a laptop. Some people may only have their phone with which to record speeches. And if that's all you have, that's fine. We can work with that. Access to Microsoft Teams is included with your tuition, and you do have full access to Office 365 through the university, which is why I use that platform rather than something like Zoom that students may or may not have access to, because I know you have access to that. So the objectives are to present various methods of speech development and presentation, including the narrative process, informative and persuasive methods. We emphasize various contexts for speeches and the importance and need of professionalism in personal and public presentation. We address students' individual challenges with usage and articulation. In other words, how you use the language, like what words you use and how you pronounce them. And emphasize the importance and methods of using verbal and nonverbal communication in personal and public presentation, as well as present students with the tools and information to write a resume and cover letter. I also do a mock interview that is customized to your career goals. So later in the semester, what you'll do is you'll find a job description, you'll send it to me, and then I will look at typical interview questions for that job. And I will ask you some standard interview questions, like what are your greatest strengths and weaknesses, and then some questions that are specifically geared toward the career that you want. And then that way you have some experience with how to answer those questions when you actually do get to that interview, hopefully later in life. So the outcomes are closely related to the objectives. We want you to obtain and demonstrate knowledge of the historical foundations of speech and rhetoric, learn and practice specific principles of interpersonal, group, and public communication, develop understanding of the role of verbal communication in the communication process, and demonstrate the appropriate use of standard American English with particular attention to grammatical correctness, clarity of enunciation and expression, aesthetics, and audience appeal. What that basically means is that we don't want you using a whole lot of slang. There are other forms of English, and they are acceptable in many situations, but in a professional academic environment, we want to use standard English. So that's really all that means. You'll understand the role of nonverbal communication in the communication process and demonstrate the effective use of different types of nonverbal communication, like body movement, gestures, facial expression, eye contact, voice modulation, in your performances and your speeches. Improve listening skills through study and practice. Learn and demonstrate knowledge of the impact of purpose, occasion, and audience in speech making. Learn and use invention, critical thinking, or research skills to assess interpersonal and group communication, or to prepare oral assignments such as reports and speeches. Looking if there's any, clarify there. Learn strategies and formats for organizing focused, sequential, well-developed presentations that are logical and ethical. Gain cognitive knowledge and skills in communication and lessen speaker apprehension, which is fear of public speaking, by successful participation in activities that help to improve that, and understand the role of speech across the curriculum. So that sounds like a lot of really complicated stuff, I know. We'll break it down. We'll work through it together. You don't need to feel overwhelmed by it. The final grade in this class can range from an A to an F. Your speaking performances, your speeches, will be the main component in determining that grade. Other assignments, like the quizzes and the discussion boards, will also affect your final average. So all instruction occurs online with no physical face-to-face classroom requirement. Your assignments that you submit count as your attendance. So we'll look below for types of assignments that may count for attendance in an online class, such as submission of academic assignments, exams, documented student participation in tutorial or computer-assisted instruction, postings by students, email from student, or other documentation showing that you have initiated contact with me. And basically, any communication between you and me or anything that you submit to Canvas is considered, for the purpose of financial aid, to be attendance. Makeup policy. The makeup policy is slightly complicated in this class because I understand that life happens, but at the same time, we do have to have structure. We do have to have rules. So your assignments are generally due on Mondays and Fridays. You're strongly encouraged to plan ahead and submit assignments before the due date whenever possible. But with the realities of the pandemic, with it being an online class and unexpected things happening with people's internets and, emergencies come up and people get sick, and I didn't want to have a really, really stringent makeup policy, where you either turn it in by the due date or you get a 0, because things happen. That's not really fair, right? So we have the due date, which is the date that the assignment is actually due, and it's due either Friday or Monday. And then there's the available until date in Canvas. So I leave assignments open for an additional 48 hours after the due date to account for emergencies and things that just happen. If it's submitted between the due date and the available date, there's no questions asked. It's okay. You don't have to email me. If it's 12:01 on Saturday and you just couldn't get it up before midnight, it's fine. It's open till Monday. So if it's submitted during the grace period, I don't count it as late, even if it technically is, and it will show as late in Canvas. Grace periods are not guaranteed on all assignments, and they're up to my discretion. There will be situations where I can't necessarily offer that, but for the vast majority of assignments, quizzes, everything like that, they are there for you. Assignments such as speeches, classwork, and quizzes may only be made up after the grace period if you have a legitimate, documented, and excused absence, or if you have gotten permission from me in advance. Assignment submitted after the grace period, so after the assignment closes out in Canvas, it's no longer available. Even with excused absence or prior permission, incur a 10% per day penalty. Examples of excused absences include doctor's appointments, university responsibility, or court appearances. If the student is absent, you are still responsible for the work when you return, and that was due during your absence. If you are absent without a documentable excuse or permission, you can't make up the assignment